This podcast is brought to you by lineupmedia.fm.
Welcome, Soulardians, and this is Marcus Boston.
I'm Cecil W. Adams.
And we want to thank you for listening to another episode of the Soulardians. And you can find me at Marcus Boston 314.
You can find me at Cecil W. Adams on all platforms.
You can pick up your merch, Soulardian merch, from buyjack.com/the Soulardians.
You can also go down and support Colorado Bob Ship of Fools at 3457 MorganFord Rd.
We would like to thank you and ask you to like, share, comment, and have your friend listen to the Soulardians. And we would like you to enjoy the show.
Peace. And we're good.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Soulardians, the quarantine stream. We choose a great time to choose some international during a lockdown. great time. I am Marcus Onesimus Boston.
And I am Cecil W. Adams.
And, oh shit, did I kick out again?
No, you're right here.
Okay, good. We are the Soulardians. And today, Dave, of Evolution Dave, on the show today.
As our health correspondent through the quarantine, also all around great dude, and he's been posting a lot on his YouTube channel about prevention, and just kind of want to get it out to our people what Dave does, and if we've had Dave on before, hopefully you guys follow him on his YouTube channel at Evolution of Dave. Dave, how are you, man?
Yeah, really good. Thank you very much. Especially now I've had my cup of tea. As I said earlier, that this is the subdued version of Evo Dave, as I sometimes call myself in the third person, because normally when we speak in the morning, don't we? So after my cold shower, my meditation, my yoga, my breath work, by then I'm all firing on all cylinders and full of verve. I wouldn't normally have caffeine in the afternoon, but for you guys, I'll have a cup of tea.
Hey, this is morning to us most of the time. So
yeah, of course. So what is the time there? It's now early afternoon, is it for you?
Yes, it's 1:50.
Yeah. So for you, so Marcus, you work in the bar too, do you?
Hell no. I work keeping them open about giving my money.
Okay. So you're the professional.
Yes. That's him and I got to we met because Marcus used to come to. He was one of my regulars at the bar, and then we just kind of became friends. That was 8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And he was always hanging around, and then he started reffing volleyball at a bar I worked at where we had volleyball, and we got to know each other through that. And then when I started messing around with this podcast, I had to find the artistic person who would want to get this done, and I called him up one day and was like, "Hey man, I started this podcast thing. I don't know what I'm doing, but you're gonna come help me, and we can know not what the fuck we're doing together." And so we started out on my couch and kind of worked our way to here we are now. That was over a year ago.
Brilliant, excellent. Just a quick question before we go on. So my audio's not so good, so I'm getting a bit of an echo and an occasional metallic sound. But as long as it's recording, okay, is it?
Yeah, it's cool. It's got a little bit, and Marcus can take out most of that on post. If he can't, then over at the studio they'll be able to as well.
Brilliant. Well, if I need to ask you the same question more than once, then you'll know why.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that the reverb is coming in a little bit because Marcus and I are in the same room, and his mic is coming off of my mic. Most of the time, if we're using the soundboard, it wouldn't be that way, but we can get it out. And then I put up some more of these to soundproof it more, but I left the window open and the glue didn't set, and most of them fell off the ceiling. So that happened. You can see.
I love it. Oh yeah.
I wasn't here to supervise. That's what happened.
Oh, Dave. All right, let's get into it. we're in a very interesting time in our species. Honestly, like what's the last pandemic that we've had was influenza, I guess, or SARS on a minor level, more minor level. As far as like with the coronavirus, I think, but I don't know, influenza maybe. I don't know. What was the last one that was even?
Bird flu. Ebola was the last. I remember that.
Yeah. Now that one was a little different. I don't know. That was mostly I just got rid of Ebola in like this one certain part of Africa. They just got rid of. That was
yeah. Oh yeah. Just have a hard time with these kind of things.
Dave, what are some of the things? Because you are definitely the person I look to for holistic health and really basically keeping my immune system going and also just all around health. What are some things that you're suggesting to some of your people about keeping your immune system going or building up or improving it or strengthening it?
Yeah. I mean, well, it's a really interesting time, isn't it? What's going on in the media, the messages that are going out, the misinformation, of course, it is causing more stress. And I do genuinely think one of the first things people can do is work on their mind, mind. If that means ignoring much of the news, that would probably help. In one source of news that you regard as reliable, and only if you have to seek updates from there. Because right now, I saw in parents. I'm a parent, and I've seen it a lot in parents. Anxiety levels are just sort of proof, and you can see why. And it's constant messages certainly in this country. I would imagine it's the same in yours. So I'd have to say number one really is work on that, because the brilliant thing about it, do that. It's not like you need to go anywhere to work on your mind. You don't need any kit to work on your mind. And there's lots of stuff out there in the internet for ideas. I think the interesting thing is that when I speak to people about, for those that have, quite often they get over the idea of meditation, which is because the whole idea of meditation is meant to calm us down. Sorry, that was my son in the background. And really, and mindfulness, especially mindfulness, you can turn up into a mindful activity. Any kind of chore you could turn into a activity. So it's very easy, I think, to start working on your mind in a very simple fashion. And of course, one of the big things I talk about is breath work, which not only works on calming them, so has a whole benefits.
Yeah, that's one thing I've made sure to stay on top of is each day, making sure I'm doing my breath work. If not, do it twice a day. The breath work is really what has really. I mean, I haven't been sick since we connected 2 years ago about doing the Wim Hof. I haven't even had a sniffle. The only time I thought I was sick was when I had an allergic reaction to my contacts, but that was like, that wasn't me being sick. Like I got sick, it's just, the breath work, the cold showers, that's definitely helped me stay, build immunity and then also, just all around health, like each day, like no matter what, taking that cold shower each day, man. And Marcus, you're doing that now
totally.
as well, right?
Yeah, sucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's when you think mind body thing that they are connected. One of the things we used to do and still do is see the two are separate, body and the mind are separate. And our body is designed. It's an amazing machine that we make use of on a day-to-day basis, quite often misuse, which is okay in small doses, by the way. A little bit of misuse is okay.
Everything in...
but the silly thing is... What's that?
I was saying everything in... what do you say? Everything in moderation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bit of alcohol here and there, a little bit of sugar. I mean, ideally, you want to keep that down to a minimum because the sugar would affect your immune system. But at the end of the day, this is why I find the whole thing around the mind really interesting, because people can be, especially in these situations, they can be totally obsessed by building their immune system, being healthy. And as soon as you go down the route of being obsessive, then you're knocking on the door of anxiety and stress. So, that's why I say work on your mind first. When you've got this bit sorted, you can then calmly and rationally deal with other things. Start looking at your diet, so your nutrition at the time. I guess for a lot of people, they're unable to go outside, but that would be a benefit if you can. I mean, by the sounds of it, then you're saying that at the moment, then you can't meet in groups of more than 10 where you are.
That is currently what is going. It's more than 10.
Yeah, I reckon that will change. That doesn't really make any sense to me. It's almost like it's kind of a soft approach, isn't it? Really, I want to give you some kind of restriction, but we don't want to be too harsh. It's a bit was in this country, but they're now being a little bit more hardcore on their restrictions.
Yeah, you were saying now that London just passed its 2 people in a group now?
Yep. Yeah, as of today, all shops are from essential items or shops that sell essential items, and you're only allowed to meet in groups of 2 or in your own family. So obviously, if you've got a big family, then it's acceptable. I mean, obviously, they can't possibly police this, but at the same time, those are the restrictive ideas that they're putting out there at the moment. So, you want me to go? Sorry, Marcus, go on.
I was saying, like, is 2 people call a group? Like,
Exactly.
A group of 2 sounds crazy. Like,
yeah,
I don't think more than 5 is maybe a group, but
yeah,
that's a duet. Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah. I'll give you Boris's telephone number if you like. You can give him a call. That's the Prime Minister, by the way.
Boris is crazy. Oh my God! I learned so much about over in London from like watching the New York Times, and they gave like a rundown of like how Boris is sort of like the Trump of. I said, wow, everything's fucking the same.
Yeah,
crazy. Such a fascinating.
I mean, you probably know where he's come from. So he's come from a particular system, a particular part of society in the UK. So even the school that he went to really is just gearing you up to be in politics. And Eton School is, everybody come from they all background and geared up through that schooling system to be in politics or something along those lines. Politics. So when they come out, they have this overconfidence, probably in some cases, and they're just guided into a position of power. And they're probably the least suitable person to take on that role. But hey ho, that's how it works.
That's it. That's uncomfortable. That's grooming someone to be in power. A machine should be like a temporary help and move on. It should be a goal in life. That's just scary. Scary.
It's like we talk about all the time that it should only be 2 terms and out for all of them.
Yeah,
new blood.
Yeah, should be, shouldn't it? I really agree. The privileged that get that role necessarily. I mean, if it's the privileged who also have got a good history behind them, proof that they're doing the right thing for the right, for the right cause, then yes, they should be the one elected. But I mean, it's so often. I don't know what you guys thought about Obama in this country. People genuinely thought Obama was a good guy. I don't know what people's opinions are in over where you are, but it felt like when you get people like that they're almost genuine folk wanting to do a good job.
Yeah. It's honestly all over the board with him. Some people hated him, some people liked him. He's to me, he's just any other human. He's flawed in certain ways, and you can nitpick stuff. For me, I try to look at the positive in everybody, and he did some great things, and there's some stuff that I'm like, makes me, his whole cabinet. There was an email sent from one of the banks that supported him. That was an email sent like, these are the people that we want in the cabinet. And then you look at his cabinet, it's exactly what on the email. That's who his cabinet was.
30 pieces, baby.
And it's just like, everybody has their flaws, man. Like, he's got somebody he answers to, the people that provide the money. Like we always say, follow the money.
Follow the money.
Follow the money.
It's true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Let's.
So this is why.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and this is why actually, let's round it back up to what the original question was all about, and this is why I think when you're, all you've got to do is just hope that your country is doing the right thing, making the decisions. Nothing you can do about them, nothing you affect how they work. So therefore, you then have to focus on the things that you can control. The things you can control are you, your family, you and your family's health. The way you look at the world, the way you interact, react to things. Those are the things you can control. So that's why I made that statement at the beginning there around stress. That's the thing you can control first. Deal with that, then work on all the other things that. There's loads of things you can build into your life that will help boost your immune system. And we can talk about those if you like.
I saw your dog get on the couch behind you. He's getting on the
Winston,
couch behind
yeah.
Winston, yeah. I think he's more famous than Dave on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah. And rightly so.
Right, exactly.
His message is far more interesting than mine. Yeah, so we've only just put that couch in. Somebody gave it to us, and he's just very quickly decided it was his. And I can't be bothered. Yeah,
I'm the captain.
I'm the captain.
Yeah, exactly.
So going back to your statement.
So
definitely stress, unneeded stress. It's more of the time. I think that I'm just resided to the fact like, hey, I go through this quarantine, and there's so much I can do. Where a lot of people want to just read all the negativity about it and then just take it to this unstressful level that is tearing down your immunity, and then also just putting you in a negative space where everything that you look at is negative. And that's Marcus and I talk about it all the time. That you can either live in abundance or scarcity.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go looking for negativity, you'll find it everywhere you go. Within a matter of seconds, you'll find something to be unhappy. You're right. And that's why it's a practice, isn't it? Everything is a practice. Everything is a working practice. If you want a good, healthy, happy life, it doesn't just come like that. And there's not one thing you can do that will turn it around. It's a daily practice, isn't it? And part of it is how you interact and react to the world.
I like to call it, I've adapted this new thing where it's like stacking up W's. So stacking up wins. And it's basically building the discipline each day. Like, you wake up, you make your bed, that's a W. You wake up, you do your breath work, that's a W. You wake up, do your breath work, take a cold shower, that's another W. And stacking up the W's each day builds momentum. And each day you're building more momentum, and you're going to get a lot more positive things done. Kind of goes back to small steps add up to big results. It's kind of that same mentality.
Yep, definitely. And discipline creates discipline, doesn't it? And that's why the cold shower is so bloody good. By pushing yourself to do it, because you have to do that initially. You don't want to do it. Your mind's saying, it's winter. Why do I want to have a cold shower? Especially if you do what I do and have it in the garden. But by pushing yourself, it has this immediate effect. Not only do you feel good straight after it, but by then, the next day when it happens again, you've already told your brain that you can push yourself through this. So your brain is a little bit more accepting, he's a bit more accepting of this situation, a little bit more malleable to this change. And then by the time you've hit a month, that's it. Your brain's kind of thinking, well, there's no point me pushing back now. You're going to keep doing this. So I'm just going to be happy with it. And that discipline there then creates further discipline in other parts of your life. That's the brilliant thing about it, isn't it?
It is. It's one of the things where you never know until you start doing something little like, 30-second shower, cold shower. That's what I tell people. I scream from the top of my lungs, just take 30 seconds. Start with 30 seconds. Do a 30-second cold shower, and then you'll build up from there. Start with 30 seconds though. And then, people are like, finally, I got a lot of messages where like, man, this really sucks, like blah blah blah, but I feel really good, and now they work it into their everyday process. And it's built like Jocko Willink always says, discipline equals freedom.
Yep, definitely. As well as getting uncomfortable, a la David Goggins. Who, by the way, initially when I came across him, I was a bit late to the game with David Goggins. When I came across him, I just couldn't resonate with him because of the way he speaks. There is a certain language to the way he speaks, and I couldn't get it. And then somebody recommended that I listen to his Audible, which is amazing, isn't it? I don't know if you listen to it, the Audible podcast. Brilliant. Then as soon as I understood his background, the trauma that he went through, and then the achievements that he had, then that was it. I could listen to him till the cows come home. He's an amazing guy, and I find inspiration through him. Although he always says, "Don't look to me for inspiration because inspiration doesn't last." I still think it works for me. If hang on a sec, what's that say? Thank you for choosing Zoom. Yeah.
So we can go longer than 40 minutes. So we're good.
Yes. Yeah, I upgraded my Zoom actually. Yeah, which helps, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, for me, so I don't know if you know, I took on a job as a gardener for 2 days a week.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I did it because I wanted to do something in contrast to sitting at a desk doing the other stuff that I do. And right now it's amazing. It's brilliant. Luckily I'm still allowed to work as a gardener. I just have to stay 6-7 foot, whatever it is, away from my fellow humans.
Cut out a little bit there.
Sometimes on my way to work. I was just saying that gardening is proving to be a brilliant thing. If those that are in lockdown aren't quite in a lockdown where they can't go outside, or then I have to say, getting your hands in the earth has proved to be a rather lovely thing.
Yeah, I just went and picked up all my tools that I have that were at the bar. I just went and picked them up, and today to start doing some stuff in the backyard. I'm really looking forward to getting that stuff done. Mainly because to get my significant other to stop bitching at me to get it done. So.
Yeah, well, there you go, and you get to tick it off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I really realize a lot of stuff. It used to be a lot of stuff that I did was just not to get yelled at by her. So now I've got the time. Like I don't have anything else. It's focus on me and keeping her happy. And I enjoy doing all this stuff I've been doing around the house. And it's this last 6 months have been a trying time for me personally. Just going through the stuff I have with the bar, and then now. Right, we were supposed to open up on Tuesday, open back up, and this past St. Patty's Day we were supposed to open back up, soft opening, and obviously we didn't. So and then now they're talking. We're on lockdown with a curfew for the next month, and then I don't know how long it's going to be until they let bars reopen. So kind of life in flux right now, and just.
Your school's closed till the 22nd.
Yeah. Well, and that's how long the curfew runs.
Oh, 30 days. Oh, yeah, I didn't. Ignore me.
So, and then there's small little rumors because in the bar industry, there's rumors all the time. And I take it for what it's worth. It's whatever. If it's that way, then, I'll adjust and figure out a way. But they've talked about that not letting bars and restaurants open for a year.
Really?
Yeah. But that's coming from people that are chicken littles. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Like, there's no way. There's too many people that work in the bar and restaurant industry to keep them out of work for a year.
Yeah.
People will lose their shit. I'm one of them. I'm riding. I'm out here for the shits, but like, stripper stripping, liquor lit poured. Burn this motherfucker down.
I mean, I think the biggest thing you take out of that is there's no strippers stripping is what the biggest thing you can take out of that. Yeah, it's this is a time, there's a couple different ways that I look at it. Like, one is, the bar industry, if it is closed for the next, let's say, 2 months, it'll weed out the people that weren't passionate about it, that were just doing it for a job. They'll go do something else. That'll be more money for the people that are passionate about it. Then also, it'll be like, what I'm hoping is, in my mind, it'll be like the end of prohibition again, where we'll be so busy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm hoping for. And then what's funny is all the other little bars that I was looking into, trying to figure out how to buy, that weren't really paying attention to me. I got to look at them, but then, when I'd ask them questions or email them about it, it'd take a few days for them to get to me. They've been blowing my phone up lately. Like, hey, are you still interested in this property? The owner is really dropping the price right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting to have that, like the main one I'm interested in that I really want. It's like that ex-girlfriend that you can't get over. Every time I get over, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get this property. The one I really want, it's right up the street from my house. It's right here in the middle of Soulard. And every time I'm like, I'm over it. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. Then my phone rings. And it's the person that owns it, like, hey, so this last time, he was like, because I was talking about wanting to buy it or lease it from him, whatever. He was like, no, I've got this partnership worked out. Like, we're going to start this business, in March. I was like, all right, man. Well, then now I found out what the business was, which was really smart. He was going to do a dispensary because they just made medical marijuana legal in Missouri. He was going to do a dispensary out of it, which was, when he told me, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. He had spent, him and his partner, his business partner, they had spent close to $50,000 to get on the list in order to get a license to sell, to make it a dispensary, and then they didn't get approved.
Ooh.
Yeah. So now he's like, I really don't even want the property anymore. So now, I'm gonna go look at it again today. That. But it's a funny story, actually, because
Marcus is on the medical marijuana, I see.
We'll call it medical recreational. It's what you call a gray area, Dave.
Excellent. I want one of those Elon Musk moments on Joe Rogan.
I can give you one. Don't tell me.
So it's just funny because on the night before Mardi Gras, I had a friend call me and like, hey man, are you doing that pop-up bar at the space that I really want? He's like, hey, are you doing the pop-up bar there? I'm like, no. Why? What's up? He's like, well, we all thought that it was you doing it because, but we just want to call you because there's water running out under the door of the place. Like they had a water leak the night before Mardi Gras. Yeah. And I really was just like, I don't give a fuck, like whatever. And then I was like, no, make the call. So I called the guy that owns it. I was like, hey man, somebody called me because they thought I was doing the pop-up bar there. Not only that, I called him once and he ignored my call. So I called him right back, ignored it again. I called him a third time. I was like, well, I'll give it a third time. And he picked it up. He's like, hey, what's up, man? How can I help you? I was like, hey man, I don't know who's doing the pop-up bar at your building, but there's water running out the doors. He's like, wait, what? I was like, hey man, my friend called me, blah, blah, blah. There's water running out from under your doors. And, he's like, well, I'll have somebody go look at it. And then he texts me like 15 minutes later. He's like, oh my God, thank you so much for letting me know. Like that would have ruined our whole Mardi Gras money that we were going to make off the bar, blah, blah, blah. Like real apologetic. And then now I'm wondering if the fact that I did that for him is the reason he called me first whenever he didn't get approved for the, it's simple. It's weird how the world works.
Yeah. When with my little recruitment company that I had previously, we used to promote the idea of COMA recruitment. So the idea being that let's say a finance director that I'm working with wants a job, but I don't have anything for him, but I know that there is something that I'm not working on that he could get himself, but it won't be through me. Then I would quite happily pass that information on, knowing that I wasn't going to get paid anything, but also knowing that maybe in a couple of years' time, some business might come back my way via him because I did him a favor. And I think that's the way the world should be run, shouldn't it? I mean, not that you should be thinking like that all the time, but I think if you go about doing these good acts, theoretically and generally, things come back to you, don't they? It's the whole abundance thing.
Right. And something that we talk about on the show all the time is give love without expectation.
Yeah.
I help people out when they ask me if it's within my power. I help them out. And then if they never repay that favor, hey, whatever it is, I don't expect anything. But if it comes back, it's such a greater, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so much better for yourself. Like, it's such a surprise. You're like, holy cow, thank you so much. And you appreciate it.
Cherish it more.
Yeah. And then, Marcus is the big about the cherish more and the abundance. And obviously he's a proponent of marijuana as well.
Yeah, there's two mindsets in life: scarcity and abundance. That's it. Whichever you believe in more is the one you're gonna fall into. It's so funny to see, like, now people that got no jobs and shit, how Facebook is just littered with hooligans and mayhem and foolishness. Like, go to work, get off my timeline. Y'all never here. Y'all never in these streets. It's foolishness. I said, I don't want to post nothing because y'all here. Get out. Y'all ain't never here. It's 2 in the afternoon. It's usually my time.
I think that's one of the things I've noticed. I would imagine you guys have as well, that whenever these events occur that are traumatic for some, they're pretty hellish for others, good things always come from stuff like this. And one of the good things, I think, is this community which is being built. I mean, I live in a village, a typical kind of English country village. And there's so many people there. Obviously there's still a bit of anxiety and stress, etc. But there are also equally lots of people going out of their way to help their fellow human. Especially, I think it's like this, bringing back those humanistic traits that we should all be doing anyway, but it's events like this that kind of bring it to the fore.
Yeah, you'll see who's here for what now. Everyone's showing them true selves, good or bad. Good or bad, people are showing themselves.
Yeah.
Just taking notes.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Yeah. Well, absolutely. No, you're absolutely. Yeah. You do get to see people for who they really are, don't you? Mm-hmm. And there will be enough selfish people, of course, but I think hopefully there'll be others that were previously so wrapped up in their daily lives, especially those that work in the wrong job or have a stressful life. They're so wrapped up in that little world that they're incapable of seeing the others around them, and they're the ones that now they have to work from home. That their mind is being awakened, to helping others.
And realize
that's what I'm saying.
Some people are just too dependent on other people for their happiness. Like, this gonna realize if you have the right spouse, maybe you're doing enough for your kids, maybe you just ain't doing your energy and attention in the wrong places. Up until now, you realize, oh shit, I was spending time on bullshit. Maybe I can get rid of this shit. Stop talking to being your friend because this is not helping my life. Hopefully.
Yep. I do think that. I mean, it's not going to happen to everybody, obviously, and for a lot of people, they're going to. It's a bit like when you go through life, everybody has opportunities thrust upon them all the way through their life, but most people ignore them or don't see them. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you start heading down a path, Marcus, by the sounds of it, you're one of these people. The way you look at life for the opportunities, and when you head down that path, more opportunities start flowing to you, don't they? Mm-hmm. And I think that this is a time when people will be awakened to their potential. That sounds a bit cheesy, doesn't it? But I believe it. I do think people are going to awaken to things in life.
This is my thought is I hope people do, instead of people sit around pining about everything going bad. They look at things that were to improve the situation, or open their minds up to, and I hate to use the word, but being more woke to how things are, and maybe finding some kind of success in this time, or being real resourceful with the way they do things, or maybe learn some new skill that's going to help them down the road. That's what I hope for. Yeah. But it's all I can do is put the vibe out through my social medias, through just the way I act to things. Right now is the time everybody's looking at the stocks. Oh, I want to buy these stocks. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, everybody's doing that. Yeah. Like, let's work on something holistic that can help you. Which brings me to something that I've been listening to the last few days. It's your new venture into tell me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Soma breathing?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Soma.
What I like is it's got a beat and I can dance to it. Broke up a little bit there, Dave.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost you then for a second. I mean, this is it. If you think about Wim Hof and the conversations that we had before, when I spoke to you, that was in the early part of my journey, wasn't it?
Yeah, you and I both.
Yeah. And I was waxing lyrical about Wim Hof, the Wim Hof method, saying how amazing it is, which it is. Soma breath is like the Wim Hof on steroids to an extent, because it's that much more in depth. There's various different breathing patterns. And the brilliant thing about it is that it's partly meditative, because you're being guided either by the likes of me or whoever else is instructing online or in a physical space. So you've got this guided meditation whilst you're breathing in a rhythm, in a pattern. And you've got this very specific music in the background, which has something called isochronic tones running through it. And for those that don't know, isochronic tones are a bit like binaural beats. The only difference is that with binaural beats, you need headphones, because you need to have the difference in the hertz in each ear to create the brainwave pattern. With isochronic, you don't need to. You can listen to it through speakers. And it's like bringing, I think it will be like bringing meditation to the masses. For a lot of people, they think of meditation, they think, oh, I can't be bothered, or I haven't got time, because their brain is not wired to doing it yet, and so therefore they don't build it into their day. With Soma breath, all you've got to do is hit play, and you get this inspiring music, this energizing music, and you're breathing at the same time, which, as you know, if you're doing the Wim Hof method, it makes you feel good. When you combine all those things, the breathing, which also includes the exhale breath retention, like in Wim Hof, plus the music, plus the guided meditation, which is often about how you look at the day, or it could be anything. The guided bit can be created by the person that's instructing. I generally do my guided stuff around how you the day challenges, stuff like that can be.
Yours, you broke up a little bit, but I think what you were saying was that yours is more about how you're starting your day with the energy. Is it? You kind of broke up a little bit there.
Yes.
And that's one thing that if it's okay, we'll put your link whenever we post this. We'll put a link to your introduction to Soma breathing, if that's okay with you, sir.
Yeah, or either do that one or the latest video I've done, which is me guiding.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
The great thing is, you don't get my usual boring ramble. You don't have to listen to the chit chat. It just goes bosh straight in, and you're straight into.
No foreplay, straight to fucking, huh?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't hear what you said.
He said yes, exactly.
What'd you say?
I say no foreplay, straight to fucking.
No, yeah.
I mean, you've got it.
And that's
And actually, when you think about it, so just thinking about it, I'm just thinking of breathing and sex, very similar to Soma breath.
Yeah, get the endurance, get your breathing right. Like think about baseballs, you don't want to get there too soon. You don't want to score too fast. You got to work to get your breathing.
Yeah.
All comes together.
And actually, when I think about it even more, you've got me on this Soma breath video saying in, out, in, out. So
that is true. That is true.
I see another new venture here, I think.
Man,
I mean, there's something there.
Yeah,
if they so much being pouring soda online and OnlyFans only right now, Lord have mercy.
Okay. I'll tell you what, you boys do the video, I'll just do the voice.
You're just doing the voiceover work, right?
Yeah.
That was actually a career back in the day when they used when they were recording porno. They had the people that voiced over that would do the moaning and groaning.
Wow.
Yes.
That was actual work back in the day. The only reason I know that, I used to watch David tell Up All Night or whatever the fuck it was back in the day, and he actually went to one of those studios and did some voiceover work where he's like, and then they would match up the voice to the video, and
yeah.
I mean, quite interesting. The one thing that also I want people to know is that you can do Soma breath whenever. It doesn't have to be to start your day. You know, if you miss it, you can do it later on in the day. If I'm not mistaken on that.
Yeah, well, the great thing is that there's various different versions of it. So the one that I've recorded is a really simple, it's called the Daily Dose. And I've done it to kind of a funky Latin beat. So it's it's got a really kind of perfect music for the morning, which is why I've called it the morning breath, because it does leave you energized by the end of it. But there are other versions that have you breathing with a longer exhale. So if you imagine, if you breathe in for 4 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds, then that longer exhale connects your parasympathetic nervous system. It's the parasympathetic response, which is your rest, digest, calm part of your nervous system. So that would be a good breathing pattern to do later on in the day, because afterwards you feel quite floaty and relaxed. So yeah, there's lots of different versions. And in fact, I'm partway through one that I'll post in the next couple of days, which is kind of a hyper version. So the one that I've done already is fairly energizing. This next one, I think, will be even more so. So again, it's going to be a great one for people to turn to in the morning when they're feeling a little bit shitty, or if people are self-isolating and they've got children. You are somewhat knackered, you're somewhat tired from dealing with that, and you're in the house, you're self-isolating, so you're going to need something to wake you up in the morning, bar the black coffee. This will do it.
Would you like some room for cream?
Have you? Oh God, he's referring to a Netflix. It was what's his name?
Bert
Kreischer.
Okay.
Bert Kreischer. On Netflix, if you get a chance, you should watch the Bert Kreischer Hey Big Boy stand-up comedy. It was quite entertaining. It's my kiddo was here and Marcus was here, doing some stuff down here in the studio, and then I was like, dude, I just watched this. You got to come up and watch it. And she was in bed, and we were laughing so hard. She was like, woke up and was like, "Can you guys stop laughing so loud?" So yeah, she.
Marcus go home.
Dad, doesn't think it's time for bed? I'm like, dude, you don't control the situation. I'm the adult. So Dave,
what's it called again? Sorry.
It's called Bert Kreischer. Hey Big Boy. Bert
Kreischer. Right, I'll be checking that out.
It's quite hilarious, man. So actually, funny story about him. Do you remember the movie. What was it with Ryan Reynolds back in the day? What he got known for?
Deadpool?
That owns College Days.
No, not College Days. No.
Super Senior.
No. Jesus Christ. Hold on one second. Fill in here, sir.
Damn. I can't think of it. Efforting.
I'm Googling right now.
And Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, one of the first movie that he really got known for. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing.
I wasn't ready.
Oh, I'm going to see if I can beat you to it.
Probably, you probably can.
Mixed videos.
Whoa.
Sorry. I go to my regular pages. National. Oh man.
Hold on.
National Lampoon.
I think it was National.
Movies.
Van Wilder.
Ah.
Remember Van Wilder? Yeah, Dave, do you remember Van Wilder? National, with Ryan. So that movie is based on Bert Kreischer's life. He was the original Van Wilder. And he's the one that the movie's based on. And he took no money from the movie just to be able to tell. He's like, I want to be able to tell everyone that that was me. And I want you guys to back me up so everybody knows that's me because it'll advance my stand-up career.
Right.
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny, and the guy is hilarious when he starts talking about his kids, and it's I wish I was sponsored by Bert Kreischer right now as much as I'm talking about. So,
well, I'll definitely check him out. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely let the kiddo be in bed before you. Definitely let the kiddo be in bed before you watch that one.
Yeah.
So, Dave, what else is going on with you, man? How's everything going with Evolution of Dave? And it seems like your fan base is growing, your subscribers are growing. I keep track of you as much as I can.
Yeah, so slowly but surely they are. You're right. I'm developing kind of a slightly better presence on LinkedIn, and I'm doing that because of the network that I've got from my corporate life on LinkedIn. What's really interesting actually on there is that if you imagine LinkedIn is fairly staid and boring and full of corporate folk who you would never have expected previously to be into all this fluffy stuff that I now do. And yet so many of them are commenting and saying how interested they are or how they've been inspired by my journey by some of the stuff that I do. And some of the videos that I do on LinkedIn are a little bit quirky, but yet, MDs of this, FDs of this, people that I would expected to be into this stuff are showing an interest. So
LinkedIn,
what I'm now going to do is...
The algorithm's different on LinkedIn, so it's more open. It's not as restrictive as, say, YouTube is right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're really pushing video, which is why you'll see... I mean, it's going to get a wash with video on LinkedIn at some point, and it's going to go a bit crazy because everybody's doing it. But it's good. I mean, I've got a friend actually in the village who... he's just a big old hairy dude who loves calisthenics, loves bodyweight exercises. And he's a real character. I must get him on my YouTube video. I will. His name's Adam Luther. And anyway, so he records videos in his gym at home. And he's got one at the moment that he's entitled, I'd like to teach the world to skip.
Say that again?
And, he's got kind of a tutorial. I'd like to teach the world to skip, as in boxing skip. So yeah, and it's perfect. It's a perfect platform for him. And he's gathering lots of interest again from people that you would never have expected to be into the stuff that he does. Because I mean, he looks like a well-built hippie, really long hair, good old beard,
right?
And just
I like him already.
Yeah. So this is it. I mean, for me, that is a cool look. But on LinkedIn, you wouldn't have expected people to resonate with him, but yet so many are. It's brilliant.
I wonder if it's one of those things with there are so many corporate type on there that look at him as what they want to be, but they're so caught up into the corporate life that they're like, man, I really like this guy because he lives free and he does this.
Yeah.
He makes these videos, and that's
Definitely.
amazing to me, man. That's what I love about where we're at in life and the great time we are living now. Yeah, right. At this moment, it's not the best, but having time creates creativity in my mind. The creative process, to me, it's I'm ready to start filming whatever, just the day in and day out, of what I'm doing during my quarantine, trying to talk my significant other into building forts and shooting Nerf guns at each other. It seems like a great time to me.
Yes.
But sometimes
she just needs a little persuasion. What she needs to do is look at my SOMA breath.
Actually, she
and
that is literally
heavy
the plan
breathing
for tomorrow
on.
morning. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Hoping you can help me out, Dave.
Like it.
Assist.
Yep. We'll go live.
Whoa.
In and out, in and out.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody. Not even on the Pornhub community. If you're into weird stuff with guys with beards, you don't want to see that.
Give it a week, buddy. Give it a week.
We're early in this quarantine.
Only week one, baby. Do not underestimate humanity. We are nasty fuckers.
Oh, that's great.
Well, so by the sounds of it, then you're going to be storing up a whole load of alcohol in this prohibitive state that you now are in, and having an underground bar, and then connected to that will be this porn industry.
I mean, hey, we're only in week one. Let's wait till we get to week 3. It may be. That's what there was a. I don't know if it was a meme or what, but they talked because the whole bar industry is shut down right now, and somebody's like, "Man, shut down the bar industry. You're gonna start seeing some of your favorite bartenders having their own, being naked on the internet real soon."
Yeah.
OnlyFans only, baby. OnlyFans. Soulardians.
Once again, I don't know if anybody wants to see that.
Once again, don't underestimate yourself, sir. Abundance. Not underestimate humanity's nasty. Not understand. I'm doing research as you speak. I'm telling you, I got a plan.
And Dave, it seems like the group, the Facebook group, is growing quite a bit as well, man.
So it's a really nice bunch, isn't it? I mean, it's people are fairly genuine on there. They show up, they provide advice, they help out. It's a really good group. And what's lovely is that I learn from it as well. Yeah. I know that I'm on a journey for life. I'm never going to get to a point where I think, oh, I'm a guru. I know all about this stuff.
Why would you want to be a guru? Then people are going to ask you questions, and if you don't have the answer, they're going to be like, "Whoa, you're not a guru." Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's my own take on it.
Yeah, but that's why my tagline really helps. As I evolve, so will you. So right. It's sort of indicating this is just a continuous journey.
It is, and then I really like Trev.
There are certain things that.
And then Trev really.
Yes.
Shout out to Trev. Trev kicks in a lot of good info, man. I really like that guy. I've never met him, obviously, but he's I became Facebook friends with him now, actual friends, not just in the group. And I really like he has great input. Seems like he's sick all the time, which doesn't make sense because he's doing his breathing treatments. But whatever.
Yeah, he needs to look at a few other facets of his life.
But I do like the new people that come into the group. They're like, I've been doing the Wim Hof for 2 weeks now, and like how the whole group kind of helps them. Like, oh, you're going to start noticing this, or help them out. And I've learned a lot on it as well. I was down with everything that was going, and then there was in the early day of the group, people started talking about drinking their own urine. I was like, ah.
Ooh, see,
I was like, ah.
OnlyFans coming soon.
Did you ever try that, Dave?
No.
Not lie to us. Don't tell us the truth. Don't tell us. Yeah.
There's a lot of things I'll do.
Give us 3 more weeks.
I'll leave that to Bear Grylls.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's great.
I'm sure there are ways to flavor it. I'm sure, and maybe if somebody handed it to me and I didn't know, that would be the only way I would drink it.
We just want to chill the hot. You want it fresh, and you want it like.
It would definitely have to be fresh. Well, mind you, it could be kind of a hot toddy thing, couldn't it? If it was warm, add some honey, some whiskey,
maybe some vodka in there. I mean, I don't know.
Tequila.
Yeah.
Yeah, just.
Well, hot
I've heard of
toddies
some
in this
boxers doing it. What's his name? Manny Pacquiao did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think because in some countries it's kind of just acceptable, isn't it? It's not even.
It was one of the Manny Pacquiao that he's like, I'm basically like getting rid of everything out of his body. His body's pushing all that out, so they want to put it back in. And my thing is like, man, your urine's your waste from your body. Like you're getting rid of stuff out of your body. Why are you putting it back in? But
yeah,
I don't know. Some people believe what they believe. Good for you, man. You try it out. That's something that I'm gonna have to be really desperate to drink my own urine.
Yeah. Well, we might all have to go down that route sometime soon.
I mean, maybe if you boil it, I don't know.
Yeah, but you've probably boiled off all the good stuff.
True.
Damn. Well, let's hope we don't get to that road, guys. Shit, we're not having an answer on this round. This dictate. We ain't found a solution yet.
I think that everybody just needs to just kind of take a deep breath. 30 of them, and then on the last breath, exhale and hold it for as long as you can, and do that set 3 times. If they do that every day, everybody will just relax a little bit.
Yeah, don't forget the inhale bit at the end.
Yeah, the inhale as well. Yeah, and you only need to hold that for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's kill some damn body.
There's a whole load of different techniques out there, breathwork techniques. There's one I've got on my YouTube channel where you do 121 breaths, but you don't do the breath retention. I mean, that again, as you can imagine, you're hyperventilating for that long. Of course, that makes you feel good by the end of it. But that's a sort of an ancient Tibetan. No, it's not. It might be Chinese.
I just started doing the Tibetan movements that you talked about as well. The five.
Yeah, again, they are amazing because they lift all of your body up. Every morning. I'm a fair bit older than you two, so for us old farts, quite often it's the lower back that we suffer with. So for me, doing the 5 Tibetan rites every morning just totally sorts me out. It's brilliant. It's amazing. It's so easy as well. You don't even have to have done yoga before. You don't have to have any kind of history or practice. Just watch somebody doing it on YouTube. Doesn't have to be me. There's a whole load of people out there doing it, and it's 5 moves that roll into each other. Really simple.
And the thing about it, you do them each day, and each day they get easier, and then the more flexible you get. I mean, within a week, within 3 sessions of it, you start feeling like a little different. Yeah, you can't figure out what it is, but you're like, man, I feel different. And then after a few weeks, a couple weeks of it, you're like, man, I feel really good. Like I'm waking up. For me, I don't wake up with back pain anymore. I used to wake up every day, and my lower back would be stiff as shit. And I get up like, shit, not anymore, man. Yeah. It's well, one was the change of bed, but the 2 was just becoming more flexible. And to me, I'm being 40 now, like flexibility almost means more to me than strength to a point.
Yep. Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head there perfectly. And I think actually if you combine it with squatting throughout the day, and I don't mean deadlifting, I mean literally just getting into a squat, which some people find tricky. So that's why you should do it every day, because it will stretch your lower back. And the squat position is the most natural human position for us to sit in. It's what we're meant to do. It's what we've been doing for thousands of years. And it's what some cultures still do, of course, don't they? They sit in a squat and they eat their food. That's what you should be doing as well, in my opinion, throughout the day. Because again, and it's perfect. When I'm doing gardening, in my little 2-day-a-week gardening job, if I'm weeding, I'm quite often sat in a squat position deliberately because I know it's really good for my lower back, stretches it out. The same goes for hanging on a pull-up bar and decompressing your spine just by hanging there. Just hold it and hang.
I started doing that the last 2 months before the gym closed down. I'd start my workout. I'd hang 3 different times for as long as I could, just hanging there, and it really opens your shoulders up, it straightens your back, and then every time I stretch, I'll squat, the squat with the back up straight. I haven't tried like in your video when you were doing the Soma breaths in the squat position. I haven't tried it yet, but baby steps, I'll get there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, actually, when it comes to breathing, you want to find the most comfortable position anyway, and the squat may not be the right place to do a breath work. I mean, there's lots of really simple exercises that people can do at home now. Now that they've got a little bit more time to think about this stuff, everything that they can do to have a healthy physical, to have an improved, enhanced physical health, mental health, they can do all of it at home. They don't need to go anywhere. And hopefully people will start to look at this and build it into their lives so that it becomes a routine. If there's one good thing about this coronavirus is that, let's say it lasts 3 months, I don't know what realistic.
Shit. 3 months. Fuck.
Wow. It could be. It could be longer, couldn't it? But whatever that period is, that's probably a good thing if you look at the silver lining, in that that's enough time for you to change your habit, change your routine, build these really simple acts and practices into your life, and you'll then be much
building
better
healthy habits.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one thing that I learned it by watching you, was like just talking about healthy habits, and people, I can see in the results. I mean, I think the only thing that I'm not envious of you about is one of your first videos got so many fucking views, man, and now it's like trying to repeat that success on each of your videos has got to be just.
It's never going to happen. The thing with YouTube is you either get lucky by hitting a vein, or you don't. With that video, it must have been it wasn't deliberate. It just suddenly hit at the right time.
I wonder, did it correspond with his Joe Rogan podcast? Was it around the same time?
Could be, not too sure. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if Soma breath goes in a similar fashion, because right now the biggest Google searches for wellness are meditation and breath work. And Vogue I saw online, Vogue just did an article all about breath work. You're going to hear that 2-3 years ago you wouldn't have ever heard of that terminology, breath work. Mm-hmm. This is a new term, really, the way it's being described. It's all thanks to Wim Hof doing the stuff that he does. But now you've got these other protocols, these other versions that are out there. I really do think Soma is going to get to that same level at some point, because it's so much more than the Wim Hof. Because it's the cold showers as well, it's the yoga as well. So you should build all of that into your life, and you can have an amazing life just by doing the Wim Hof breathing. But for a lot of people, that can be it's just not their thing. Whereas with Soma breath, because you've got the meditation, because you've got the guided bit and the music, I think that's what's going to draw more people to breath work.
I think so as well. And then it's if you're doing a Wim Hof, it's you doing it. With Soma, I can click on your video, and it's 18 minutes, and I don't have to think. I can open my mind up, and like you said before, I get a meditative effect to it, because all I'm thinking about is my breathing, and then my mind opens up, and I'm not letting the problems or whatever come into my mind. Because what is it? Most people, when they try to meditate early, they're like, "Oh, my mind's too busy," because they can't concentrate on their breath for 7 seconds before their mind drifts into something else. I think that listening to Dave talk and work you through it, and in and out, like you're just paying attention to his voice. It opens up your mind, and you can you're concentrating on your breath, and you're also getting to a euphoric state. Getting high on your own supply.
You really are. I mean, if you go into 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, you don't want to go bit more than that. There are some versions that are that. When you get into that amount of rounds, you do get high on your own supply. You do get some amazing experiries.
Now, is that
that's the beauty, isn't it?
DMT, the DMT that you have, or DMT in your third eye? Is that what when they talk about?
Through the pineal gland.
Pineal gland, yes.
Yeah, very likely. I mean, I think there's still questions over what this all is, but yes, it is probably very likely that because if you think about it, we've got this inner pharmacy inside us. You know, we can now control and actively create serotonin, dopamine, all these positive neurochemicals in our body. We can do that just by a technique, really simple, really quickly. So if we can do that, it's very likely we can create the DMT that's in everything, isn't it? I mean, from what we now understand, DMT is in every plant, it's in every animal, it's in every human. You either take a hallucinogenic drug to kickstart the DMT, or it's very likely that there are some natural breath-like practices that will also create that DMT. What I find, though, is that for some people, it happens quicker and with less breath work than with others. And for women in particular, they can quite often reach orgasmic states. Apparently more women, it's more so women than men. Men will get it, but women, you know, when they get into the hour-long breathwork session that's 4 or 5 rounds, that quite a few of them will reach sort of an orgasmic state.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, there is a lot in this stuff. There's even talk about
at least somebody can do that for them.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Should somebody tell them this? Like, I don't know. Might be the end of us. I'm like, hey, wait.
No, hey, as long as I still got my turn. You need to get there. Just listen to Dave's video. It's fine. It'll get you there.
Nice hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Once again, I'll be thanking Dave for another thing that's made my life easier. One of the last things I want to get into is oh wait, I did have a side question. Back in your day when you started Evolution Dave, when you were back partying or whatever, did you ever try mushrooms?
Yep. Yeah.
I've done them a couple times, and those I get the same feeling from if I do the Wim Hof, I'll do 5 sets instead of 3 or something like that. Like it gets me to like that. And then also I noticed like a glimmer of it when I did the soma breathing. And as I get into the soma, I feel like it's gonna. Basically, what I'm saying is I see the validity of the release of DMT because I felt DMT released through actually smoking DMT, and then also through mushrooms. So that euphoric state is really where you get to a elevated level of consciousness. And each day that I'm on this quarantine, I keep doing stuff to get me there, and it really does make your life I don't even know what the words I'm looking for, but I'm just a happier person. And a lot of shit that has happened to me, to most people, would have either given up or burned down somebody's house. For me, it's just like everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna get through it.
Yep. You've totally hit the nail on the head. When we spoke the other time, I thought at that point that it was the bang to the head that I experienced that was largely the reason for the change in my psychology and the way that I saw the world. I now realize it wasn't. It's more likely to be the breath work that I was doing with Wim Hof, because it really does awaken dormant parts of your brain.
The one thing I need clarification on, and we talked about it before, and just if anybody's listening to this, I just want them to know, whenever you get the when you first do the Wim Hof, you're going to get this almost like, feels like electrodes going through your body, this buzz. And if I'm not mistaken, it's that buzz you really don't know exactly what it's from, but is it from the asphyxiation, or is it the that buzz that you get when you do Wim Hof and then you get into the soma, the buzz you get and the buzz you feel? What exactly, do you know exactly what that is? I know I posted in the group about it, and there was a lot of...
Yeah, there's still a lot of questions, I think, around specifically what it could be. I mean, part of it is just simply because you're creating hypoxia. You know, you are doing a controlled experiment on your own body and creating a hypoxic environment. And so you're, through the changes in the oxygen level and CO2 in your blood, it creates that feeling. But I'm not entirely sure the absolute specifics.
Right, and then Wim Hof talks about
what is interesting.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say what is interesting actually is that there is a chance, and they are beginning to look at this now, that there is a chance that part reason why you go through these changes and good things start happening to you through this breath work is that the idea that stem cells could very well be awakened. So when we are in the womb, the womb is an abundant place for stem cells, because stem cells are abundant in a no oxygen environment or low oxygen environment. And then once we go out into the world and we've been born, then those stem cells sort of just hide away and they wait there really until something pretty significant happens to your body, and the stem cells are then awakened to regenerate parts of your body. What we now know is, number one, it's very likely that low oxygen environment could encourage more stem cells. We do know that with the breath work, the intermittent hypoxia element of the breath work, what it does is it does two things. The intermittent hypoxia is known now for killing off white blood cells, which you'd think would be counterintuitive, counterproductive. But what happens is, in killing them off, the stem cells regenerate new white blood cells. So you get a kind of a boosted white blood cell for your system, which is why it's an immune booster.
So you're replacing, let's say, used white blood cells with a brand new supply of white blood cells. Okay. Yeah,
that's what's so good. Yeah, I mean, and that's why that there's a whole long list of benefits to do with intermittent hypoxia, and that's one of them.
And the one thing I noticed, I can't remember his name, but posted in the group how this was early, how he had eczema or something along those lines, like rashes that would break out. And then after doing the Wim Hof for 3 days, all that went away. And which to me brings validity to your point of that, you're replacing those white blood cells, which are attacking those foreign bodies that are in there that was causing the rashes. And so that's, he replaced his old white blood cells by bringing in brand new ones 3 days in a row that attack, to me in my mind, and this is how I was working through it, is they attack the areas of irritation, which pushes them all out. It's just like when you have, it's like when they draw the blood out, the cupping. Mm-hmm. Remember when I had tore my tricep and she used the cupping, and hence that, and since it brought all that bad blood up, and it brought new blood in, which is kind of the same thought process. I'm pretty sure.
Yep, I think so. And this is it. I mean, I stand on my head quite regularly, and I do that because it flushes the blood. And I think there are many benefits to doing that. Whether there's any science validated by, I don't know. But for me, it feels like you're flushing the system by doing it.
Flushing.
So I think it's exactly that. Yeah.
And that's one thing that I enjoy. And anybody listening, don't be scared of it. Try new things. It's not going to hurt you by trying the summer breath or trying the Wim Hof. You're going to know some stuff, and the first time you do it, you're gonna notice the buzz, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like after you do the 3 rounds, if you start with the Wim Hof, you start with that. After your 3 rounds the first time, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is happening to me right now?" But then you're gonna be like, "Oh, I feel good." You're just relaxed and everything's just different, and then once you do it 3 days in a row, you're going to want it every day. You're going to want to do that. And then you start adding on to it, stacking up those tubs. You follow that up with a cold shower, or however, sometimes I'll take a regular shower and then turn that cold water on and then do the cold shower and then do the Wim Hof. It just depends on my day is. And if you don't think that you have to do the Wim Hof before you do the cold showers, you can do it however you want. Like
Yep.
Dave always says, it's experimenting. Trying
Absolutely.
new things.
Mix it up. Yeah, I mean, your body and brain need that because we adapt very quickly. So we can adapt to these good things, and then the body goes, "Oh, okay, well, I won't keep producing those positive neurochemicals. This is the normal routine." So in which case, keep mixing it up, keep adapting, keep changing, trying different things. What you've described there is perfect, for the Wim Hof. And I mean, that's what most people experience. And some people get really high highs, some people don't so much. But that physiologically you're getting a huge host of benefits by doing that, both the Wim Hof and the Soma breath. It's just, it is an incredible thing. And, when you think about it, us humans are very good at being addicted to stuff. This is one of the few things that it's okay to be addicted to.
Yeah, exactly. And things
don't do it too much, obviously, like everything. Right. Everything in moderation. Right. You don't want to overbreathe, because then this is an important point, actually. So when you think about being stressed, you breathe from the chest. You overbreathe. By overbreathing, you then get to a point where you cause oxidative stress. So a bit like a piece of metal that's left out in the air, that oxygen attacks the metal and it rusts. The same happens inside your body. If you overbreathe, then you will cause oxidative stress. That then leads to a whole host of inflammatory conditions, and all manner of things can start happening. So if you're stressed, you're probably overbreathing. So figure it out, sort your shit out, work on your mind, deal with your stress. If you love the Wim Hof method and Soma breath, don't do it too much, because that could cause oxidative stress. You need to find a happy medium. The daily dose Soma breath is brilliant because you just do 2 rounds a day. But, at the weekend, mix it up and add 3, 4, 5. But don't go any more than that. That's just going to be a bit silly. But, just play around with it, mix it up, as you say.
Yeah, and then there's different things that Wim talks about that I've been doing a bit is adding in, you do your round, and then on your exhale, when you're holding, do push-ups along with it. And
yep.
What was there's a show on Netflix with Gwyneth Goop. Yeah. That with Gwyneth Paltrow, right? Yeah. When she was able to do more push-ups when she was depleted of oxygen, I was like, holy shit. So that's when I started trying that out. And
she's my significant other, by the way. I wish.
I was like,
a lot of people
breaking
do.
News. Wait, hold on. Oh, shit.
So one thing I do want to bring up, Dave, is I was...
It ain't going to happen.
Right? We can all hope. I was looking up famous people from Bath. And there are quite a few.
There probably are. Test me.
I will. Famous people from Bath, England, right?
That is correct.
All right.
Do you have one in the US? You normally have these same states, don't you? The same place names.
So, yeah, I mean, ours are all states. You guys go Bath. Wait, what did it say here? List of people from Bath on Wikipedia. You're not on here yet, Dave.
Damn it. I will.
All right.
That's
damn right.
All.
There is a new media artist called Roy Ascott. And then you have one, Sir Peter Blake lived in Wellow Village near Bath in the 1970s. You have a lot of painters. Peter Brown, Thomas Gainsborough, Hayward Hardy, Sir Thomas Lawrence. You had a writer on here that was really, who was really famous. Let me look up her name again.
I didn't realize Gainsborough lived there. That's interesting.
Yeah,
he's a very famous British painter.
He was. I mean, this is according to Wikipedia. So, Jane Austen.
Well, yeah, I think she lived there for a little bit. There is a house that claims that she lived there, so they've turned it into a museum in Bath. It's like a lot of things, isn't it? You get these famous people that just have.
Oh, that's I just read something yesterday. I was watching the Mission Impossible, and then Tom Cruise actually lived in St. Louis for a while.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
As a child.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because I think he was a military kid or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So he was over. I'm sure he was a Scot or something like that.
There's a few more famous people that people will know of, I think, in Bristol. So Bristol is only half an hour drive from here, and I used to live in Bristol. So Bristol, obviously, you've got Banksy, and next to Bristol, not far away, you've got in Weston-super-Mare, you've got Mr. Fawlty Towers. In other words, what's his name? What's his name? You guys will know him because it's one of the few. John Cleese.
John,
you might not know him.
John who?
No,
You cut out in the last.
Do you remember? Oh, John Cleese. If you remember the movie A Fish Called Wanda, but if you don't remember A Fish Called Wanda, then you might remember. You might remember Monty Python, of course.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. There was one that he's been on Joe Rogan. I think we talked about it before. He wrote about. He's one guy that I was hoping that you had met because I want to get him on my podcast. But he wrote about the ancient civilization in the Amazon. How there was probably 3 million people that were living in the Amazon in society. I'm trying to look up his name now. Oh God, what's his name?
I can tell you now, I don't know him.
Right. But he wrote about I actually found him really amazing. And I can't. Oh, Graham Davis.
Right. I think you mentioned him to me once before. Actually, it's not somebody I've come across.
Yeah, he talks about the ancient society in the Amazon and how using LANDAR, they've been able to figure out where these populations were and where basically where these cities were at one time just by using, I think it's called LANDAR.
Yeah. So, I saw it on National Geographic, but using by a guy named Robert Lynn. He was doing that.
Yeah. So, so Dave, you live in a now, how big is Bristol compared to Bath?
So Bristol's much bigger than Bath. Bath is it has a very, very big tourist pull because it is a Georgian city. And it looks very pretty, and it's a beautiful city. And there's not much damage to it. In the sort of the 60s and 70s in this country, there were a number of really lovely cities that were ruined by the architecture of the 60s and 70s in this country, whereas Bath less so.
It survived.
So we get lots of Americans and Chinese and Europeans coming to Bath in particular, just because it's kind of the place. You would do London, you would then do Bath, kind of thing. It's only an hour
I got you.
and a half away.
That's
London,
like the area we live in Soulard. It's all historic. So actually, the guy who saved it, they were getting ready to make level Soulard and make it into a trucking hub, the biggest trucking hub in the Midwest.
Wow!
And this is in the 70s. They were going to make it the largest trucking hub in the United States, and it was going to bring in so much revenue. But this guy, God, I can't think of his name right now. The guy that he owns all the properties down here, and I'm trying to get that property from him, but he's such a fucking. He calls himself the gatekeeper to Soulard. What the hell's his name?
Oh yeah, I don't remember his name, but I remember talking about.
Yeah, he bought up a bunch of properties while he was here, like in the 70s, and he's held on to them. And but anyway, he saved all of Soulard, and that's why it's a historic district. And you don't get any of the modern buildings down here. Everything's brick. If you're doing a new build, the front of it has to be brick and certain standards that you have to go by. But that's part of the loveliness of Soulard. That it's a very old area, and it's funny how you see because it's right on the river. So this is where all the people that worked on the river when river was the main traffic area. But it's funny how you see. Close to the river are the smaller houses where the workers lived, and then as you go up the hill in Soulard, the bigger and bigger the houses are because that's where all the captains lived and the owners of the rivers, riverboats lived. It's kind of funny.
I did look at some images of it. It does look lovely, actually, Soulard.
Yeah. Oh, what's funny? Dave had sent me a picture on Instagram of the house right here in the corner that had the
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's right outside. He's like, are you familiar with this place? I was like, this is right outside my
I
door.
can throw a brick at that motherfucker right now. Stand by.
That house, Dave, is 2 people that live in it. That house is almost a block in size, like a block long. It's so big. And it's 2 people live there. It's an artist and this real estate, I guess you call him a mogul for the area. But yeah, they have a dog. They walk every day. I see it, wave at them every day. They got a dog that looks like Spuds McKenzie. I don't know. Is that Bull Terrier?
That's American Bull Terrier.
Yeah. Some people won't know a Spuds McKenzie reference, but us 3, we get it. So, but yeah, that's what I love about Soulard. Even though the property value in Soulard is going up so high, it's like, it's to a point where it's like, do I love it enough to sell my house and make a ridiculous amount of money, or stay down here and ride the wave? I don't know.
Sell.
Yeah. I definitely want to sell and get like a 4-family or something like that, and have my mortgage paid by the 3 people renting places from me. And that's one thing.
A great idea. Or set up a big commune.
Yeah.
One big loving.
I think they're coming back, but we gotta wait till this coronavirus is over and trying to clear that. Clear that with my significant other would be.
I got an idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Hear me out first.
Commune for exotic dancers.
No? You should. Have you heard of? You probably have Troy Casey. Have you heard of him? The certified health nut, Troy Casey.
I have.
Yeah, he's down in California, Venice Beach. You should try and get him on your show. He is a character, and I see him living in a commune at some point. He is that kind of dude.
Oh, that's funny, man. I just it sounds at the time like in my head, I'm like, man, this is a great idea. But then I have a hard enough time trying to keep one person happy, let alone everybody in a commune happy. That's
true.
Sounds like quite a chore.
You need some too? Breathe, bitch.
Go listen to Dave's audio.
Well, if there's one thing we've established with this podcast, it's that Dave's audio could have another benefit.
It could. It was an unexpected benefit that's turned out to be one of the main benefits.
Yeah.
It's helping. It's taking the pressure off of guys in relationships.
Yeah,
I think is the main. A lot of stress that they would have.
Saving batteries because you're not going through so many batteries with your toys.
True.
Not rechargeable. Good for the planet.
We're your marketing team, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. I almost feel like I'm being altruistic. So this sounds really good. Let's go viral with this idea.
Yeah.
Everybody at home got their attention. They ain't doing shit. It's only day 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
This shit. We gonna win this.
All right, so we can set up a plan and go with it. But Dave, we have taken up a lot of your time. I know it's getting late over there. And I don't know if we're going to do another one just to put something in the tank while we're here. But Dave, I appreciate you as always, man. I really do.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. That was a really good chat. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll probably post a couple, if it's okay, post a couple of these in the group of clips of us talking, if that's okay, if we post it in the group.
Yeah.
All right.
It's no problem.
No problemo. Well, once again, if you guys want to follow Dave, why don't you give your socials out so people can follow you?
Especially the wives.
So go ahead and let them know where they can find you at, Dave, and we'll start wrapping this up.
Yep. So I think really the best place to go is probably the YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting a lot more breathworky stuff on there. I've just finished editing one. But also
to edit to your edits, because your edits are great, man. Your timing is very good on this. I think. I mean,
this handy thing, and the software on there. Yeah, most of the time. And then if it's something like a breathwork video that might have a number of tracks, so it'll have a voice track or a music track and a video track, then I'll use my laptop. But most of my videos are this.
Right.
So, and I use something called Power Director, which is a free app on the phone. Really simple. A numpty like me can use it, so anybody can use it. And
that intro you got is amazing, dude. The way he walks through and you
oh
said
yeah.
I don't like this shit. Yeah. That's just good.
So that was good old Fiverr. I mean, Fiverr is such a great place, isn't it, for getting like that done?
I got burned the last time on Fiverr, man.
Fiverr behind you,
Yeah,
right.
If you can see it, yeah. That was our first. That was our first podcast.
Brilliant
cover. It's. Notice how Marcus looks amazing with this big smile and eyes.
I'm running for public office.
yeah, exactly. That wasn't a Wim Hof day then for you, was it?
No. We may. There might be. We'll definitely have to get you email connected with Big Stu from Big Stu Media right here. He's helped us out quite a bit, and I don't know if there's anything for you guys there, but he's definitely been a great resource for us as far as like chopping up video for us. And I don't know if you noticed with our intros and stuff, they've kind of modernized a bit. I don't modernized, but kind of just became a little bit cooler. He's done a lot for us, so definitely probably get you guys hooked up email some way. But once again, Dave,
thank you.
If you could drop those socials for everybody and YouTube channel and
so just put in Evolution of Dave now into the search box on YouTube. You might come across Evolution of Dave Grohl. Just skip that bit and look for the one with the blue Neanderthal man, as you say. So that's on YouTube, Evolution or Evolution of Dave, and then come join the evolutionaries. Again, just chuck that into the search box, Tribe of Evolutionaries, and you'll be asked 3 questions before you join. They're really just designed just to give me an idea as to where you are on your journey. But that's it. It's a lovely bunch of folk in there. They're all willing to help each other out and come from different disciplines, different backgrounds, offering advice.
All over the world as well.
Yeah, all over the world. It's lovely. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it, if we have some kind of worldwide meetup? But we have done a few UK ones, which we'll do more.
I got a great place to meet up once we have the one in the US. So, old Colorado Bob Ship of Fools.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That would be great, wouldn't it? I do keep saying to people, I'm heading to the US this year, and I've got no idea how I'm going to do that. When?
I think we just need to find
heading to the US. We'll
have to find a sponsor for Evolution of Dave that would pay for a YouTube series on his trip to the US post coronavirus.
Yes.
Post apocalypse.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Post pandemic.
The Book of David. Oh wait, is there a Bible verse about that? Wait,
hold on.
I was watching that the other day, actually. Yeah, that's that could. I need to learn a few moves.
Yeah. Learn a little braille work, little knife work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Marcus, you want to take us
the gun out?
Right.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, Dave.
Thank you so much, good sir.
Ta-ta for now, as we say over here.
All right, we'll see you.
All right.
See you later, guys.
See ya.
Oh, if the kingdom of God is in you, wherever you go, leave a little bit of heaven behind. For those on another planet on Mars, out there in the world, suck your ass at home. If the kingdom of God is in you, wherever you go, leave a little bit of heaven behind.
And I'm going to butcher that Brad Pitt verse again. If you see somebody tomorrow and you can do something good for them, you should do that. And because I think we need that now more than ever. Just stay 6 feet away. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all the time. Once again, I am Cecil W. Adams.
And I am Marcus Odesmus Boston.
And we are the
Soulardians.
Peace.
This podcast was a presentation of lightupmedia.fm.